tonight's big stories. We are less than 24 hours away from the kickoff of the FIBA World Cup. Is Gilas ready? Are the venues ready? We'll bring you the latest on this historic hosting of basketball's most prestigious tournament.
Senator Bato Dela Rosa copped a bit of flack for suggesting in a budget hearing that Filipinos should have more babies to lower the debt per capita. Was he joking? We'll ask the senator himself later on in the show.
And speaking of Duterte administration officials, former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo will also be here with us live in studio to talk about China, the International Criminal Court, and of course his inimitable sense of style.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Shawn.
People from Philippines, they are so lovely. They love basketball, of course, and we feel that they treat us so good. But please, from today, try to stay home and don't go out with car. So we will not have too much traffic. Go out just if you need to go out, go to work. Don't go out just for fun, please.
That was Team Italy's head coach Gianmarco Pazzacco speaking at today's FIBA press conference, and I think we can all agree with him, right?
Especially the past weeks.
The traffic to the venues will be intense. So again, plan your trips ahead and take note of these reminders first and foremost.
Well, for those who will watch the games at the Philippine Arena tomorrow and the opening, point-to-point buses are available and free of charge. There are buses from 12 terminals to choose from, all of which will drop you off at the North Luzon Express Terminal within the Philippine Arena complex if you don't want to bring your cars because traffic is a difficult thing to do. Don't forget your tickets and to book a slot first through their registration portal. Also take note, you can't bring with you items like water containers, large bags, umbrellas, laptops, and tablets. Don't bring your pets, outside food and drinks, and poles like flag poles. That's definitely not allowed.
Okay, that's also very strange, but thanks for pointing it out, Gretch. Leave your flagpole at home. Now, it would also help to know your way around the venue ahead of time. At the Philippine Arena, there will be designated entrance for spectators, and those are the yellow rectangles. For delegates, it's the dark green rectangles, and for those with general admission access, it's the light green ones. And for those who will be watching the games tomorrow, point-to-point buses, again, are available and free of charge. Gretch, this might just be the best way to get there because you don't have to park.
That's true kasi alam ko that's quite far from the Philippine Arena. Somebody told me that they had to walk really long. And
just to
you
get
have
in,
to,
yeah.
get into the line. So if you don't want hassle, you better find those point-to-point buses. I think yung flagpole na sinasabi niya, kasi di ba, Pinoy pride yun. We bring our own.
Baka yung flag law, bawal mo dalhin din yung flag. Kung hindi, lagot tayo.
Pero actually I'll be
the
trying
flags.
to brave the traffic. Trying to decide tonight if I'm going to ride the bus, the P2P bus. But tingnan natin. But I'll be leaving very early. Yun ang advice nila, leave very early. Yung iba, alis sila at 11 a.m.
Yes,
And
at pinafeng shui natin yan. Kailangan talaga umalis ng maaga.
And don't forget to fill in your RFID accounts.
Yes.
Because I think it will all be cashless transactions tomorrow.
Right. Speaking of that, the NLEX Corporation says that they are all systems go for tomorrow. Gates open at the Philippine Arena at 12 noon, but the expressway operator is advising motorists to head on early and make sure that your RFIDs are loaded. Counterflow schemes will be implemented. A truck ban will also be imposed in select areas to free up the roads. FIBA delegates caught in traffic will be escorted until they reach the Philippine Arena, but the I-Act clarifies that they will receive no special treatment.
Pag po nagkasabay ang isang bus na nagbababa sa isang istasyon at meron pong delegate sa likuran at hindi po pwedeng mag-overtake dahil nga ho safety, yung pong safety ng ating mga mananakay ang uunahin. Hindi po mamadaliin dahil lagi nating isipin na yung kapakanan at seguridad ng ating mga mananakay ang priority po natin.
Alright, as for the venue, they are all ready as well for the 55,000-seater Philippine Arena. And as you can see in these pictures, ready na ito for tomorrow with just a few finishing touches still in the works.
Well, if you're part of that crowd,
Last-minute
diba,
preps.
if we hopefully break the Guinness World Record of
Yun naman yung
largest
Guinness,
attendance,
which is 34,000.
32,
plus thousand.
32, 33,
Yeah,
or
thereabouts,
34,000.
Which I'm sure we're very competitive and we will get to
feel
beat
like
that, I
that's,
think,
that's
tomorrow.
going to be an easy target to hit.
So that's
That's
gonna
why
be...
we cannot get stuck in traffic. So for everyone going, please help us beat the record, get there on time.
But then Team Italy's coach just said, the ones, stay home.
Except
Don't
for the
go out
ones
with your cars.
Well, still on Gilas, the lineup is in. Gilas coach Shawn has had to endure a lot of challenges throughout the build-up for the FIBA World Cup. However, none was tougher than having to make the decision of the team's 12-man lineup. Here's what he had to say.
Very, very difficult. I like to call it the deepest cut. It's not because of anything they did wrong or any lack or deficiency on their part. It's just that we had to make a choice. In the end, we had 16 guys and we can only choose 12. So.
Reyes had to break the news to 4 players in the pool, namely Third Di Ravenna, Bobby Ray Parks Jr., Chris Newsome, and Calvin Oftana, that they wouldn't be making it into the World Cup roster. Reyes said that it would have been easy if there were any other reason to cut the players from the roster. But according to the tactician, they were all doing what they could to make the team better.
Sana kung, if they were doing something bad or wrong or they were just really, bad for the team, but not. They were all doing everything that we asked, but we just had to make a decision.
Team USA, meanwhile, is determined to take back the gold after a rather dismal performance in the 2019 FIBA World Cup. In a press conference this afternoon, USA basketball head coach Steve Kerr said he believes they've gained valuable lessons from that experience. The Golden State Warriors head coach also said his players were hungry and on the rise. The Americans got into the tournament with a perfect winning record of their 5 tune-up games. Kerr conceded that the international game is totally different from the NBA, but said that he had picked players who could be a team in a short period of time.
We've got a really good group that is enjoying the process together and working hard every day. And so we're trying to get better, as Jalen said, every day and be prepared because we know how difficult the tournament will be.
Joining us tonight to discuss Gilas' chances in the FIBA World Cup, we have with us live via Zoom sports analyst and TV commentator Quinito Henson. Quinito, good evening and welcome to the big story. Alright,
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Okay, diretso na natin. What are the chances of Gilas of making it out of Group A? We do go against the Dominican Republic first tomorrow, Angola Sunday, and Italy on Tuesday. And do you think Italy will really take the win from our group?
Okay, let's set the perspective. We're not going to talk win or lose here for the Philippines because we've already won. We're staging the FIBA World Cup, and that's victory in itself. And the fact that we've rolled out the red carpet for all these visiting teams, for the FIBA hierarchy to enjoy our hospitality, that's already a victory. For us to play in the World Cup, that's also a victory. So the guys who didn't make the Gilas lineup, they feel, well, they're disappointed. They weren't able to make the lineup, but they were part of the 16 of the millions of players who would have wanted to even be in the final 16. So I think forget about losing. This is about winning. And as far as the bottom line of the game is concerned, and that's what you're asking about, well, okay, let's talk brass tacks. For the Dominican Republic, they have 2 NBA players. Karl Anthony Towns is 7 foot tall. He's a legitimate NBA player who's earned over $150 million in his NBA career. We're up against a very tough opposition, and they've got a good balance of big guys and small guys. But we know how the Dominican Republic plays. We've played them before, we've lost to them before, but I think we're ready. I think Gilas is ready. To answer the question of whether we can make it to the next round, I feel the safe number of wins is 2. We beat Angola, we beat the Dominican Republic, we're in the next round. If we win only 1, there's a possibility there could be a 3-way tie for second place, in which case, quotients will come into play. If whatever game we win, we need to win big to be able to make sure we have a good quotient if in case there's going to be a triple tie. for second place. And I say that because I'm assuming Italy is going to sweep our group. Italy, I feel, is a contender for a podium finish. That's how strong they are.
Quinito, a lot of people are saying that this is the best lineup that Gilas has ever created. Do you agree with that? Have you seen this team in their tune-up games with the Mexico and Ivory Coast? And how are we talent-wise with the final 12?
Well, talent-wise, I think we're good. I think we could even be better, especially if Brownlee was playing as a naturalized player and Jordan Clarkson is recognized as a local. Now, that would be a very competitive team. But of course, that's wishful thinking. That's something maybe can be considered in some future FIBA World Cup. But at the moment, yes, in answer to your question, we've got 12 very talented, very committed players who are out to win. They're not in there just to compete. They're out there to win. And the big reason is because, well, they're doing it for the home crowd. And that's going to be a major six-man for us. I think in terms of giving us an energy boost, an adrenaline pump, I think the six-man, that big crowd, is going to be in there for us. And that will play a major role in deciding whether we win or lose games.
Talent is one thing, though, Quinito, but chemistry is also important. Are you liking the chemistry of this final 12? I mean, you know, you've watched the tune-up games. Are they going to be able to play as a tight unit on the floor, do you think?
I think so. Coach Chot Reyes made a decision of the 12 players, not on the basis of personalities. Walang personalan. What he made a decision was on the basis of positions he needed to get better. He needed to get stronger. So he looked at where we needed depth. And in the point guard position, for instance, Kiefer Ravenna made it because he plays point guard. He's a pure point guard. And you need someone who can relieve Scotty Thompson because we're not really sure how many minutes Scotty can play. He's coming off a hand injury. So we need to have an insurance at the point guard position. Then you have Jordan Clarkson, who can also play the point guard position. That was a major consideration and who to choose in the final 12. But again, talking about chemistry, I saw chemistry, but I also saw some lessons that were learned by the Philippines in those 3 tune-up games, particularly against Montenegro, because we only took 15 three-point shots in that game when we averaged about 25. There's a reason for that. Montenegro is an international team that knows the FIBA style. And right now, the three-point shot is the major weapon for all these teams playing in the FIBA World Cup. What they did to Gilas in that tune-up game against Montenegro was they took away our three-point shots. They didn't give us good looks. They met us early. They made sure they were switching and that we could not take those decent shots from three-point distance. They gave us shots from the inside, but those are 2 points. Junmar Fajardo got away with 19 points, but we only shot 5 three-pointers. While on the other hand, Montenegro was shooting a lot of three-pointers. 2 points against 3 points, you do the math. Montenegro had the edge towards the end.
Quinito, you're absolutely right. I think that game with Montenegro, the tune-up game, was absolutely interesting. We actually were on top by the end of the first quarter, but by the fourth quarter, Montenegro was leading by 20 points, tambak, right? So it feels like it's a confidence thing. What do you think the team can do when they hit that wall again?
Well, I think that was a lesson learned. I think it was great. The idea of Coach Chot Reyes to do these tune-ups. He made sure that we would play against a European team so that we could get used to that kind of style since we're playing Italy. Then he made sure that we played against Ivory Coast, which plays the African style since we're playing Angola. And then Mexico, which is, the Latin American sort of vibe that he needed against to prepare for the Dominican Republic. So I thought the lineup of tune-up games that we put together was perfect. And I think our coaching staff knows exactly what they're doing. Now, talking about the Dominican Republic in tomorrow's game, I don't know if it's still a secret, but the assistant coach, Tim Cohn, flew all the way to Granada, Spain over the weekend to watch the Dominican Republic play against Canada and Spain in 2 games. So we had a scout right in the stands watching live, taking down notes. And when Coach Tim came back last Monday, he had a ton of things to share with the team. They've been viewing, they've been looking at tendencies of the Dominican players. I think our team is ready. We're ready to win. We're hoping that we win. Of course, if we lose, at least we tried our best, right? But again, I predicated my analysis in saying that this already was a victory for the Philippines because we're staging the FIBA World Cup after over 45 years since we last staged it.
Well,
Right,
Kinito-
Kinito, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. I just wanted to ask you, you talked about, of course, Jordan Clarkson, a little bit about Kiefer Ravenna, but we do have, I think, around 5 non-professionals in this 12-man pool. What can you tell us about them? What can we expect from them? And who do you think is going to shine?
Okay, I'm looking at guys who can play multiple positions. Dwight Ramos has never played professional ball in the Philippines, but he's playing as a professional in Japan. Ren Zabando, same thing. Never played in the PBA, but has played in Korea. Now we've got other players who can contribute big time. AJ Edu, for instance, I think he was a revelation. I went over to Inspire Academy when the team was in camp, and I saw one practice of theirs, and at that point, AJ Edu had a sprained ankle, he couldn't play. But you could see the determination in his eyes. Every time there was a break where he could do some shooting without having to strain his ankle further, I thought there was great commitment that he was showing. And AJ Edu, I feel, is a diamond in the rough. I think he can shine in this competition. If he stays healthy enough, I think he will shine. Another guy whom I'm expecting to really glow is Scotty Thompson. The conviction that he had in his heart to come back from a fractured right hand and the quick recovery that he did, he came back a week before he was supposed to even be cleared to play. And during the tune-ups, he played wonderfully. I mean, this is the guy who makes things happen for the Philippines. And then you've got Jordan Clarkson. He's a given. He'll give us at least 20 points a game. And remember, against Mexico, we lost by 7. Jordan Clarkson didn't play. I'm of the opinion that if Jordan Clarkson played that game, we would have wiped Mexico out. That's really my conviction. Jordan Clarkson means a lot, and the players are now beginning to understand what it takes to support him, to make it easier for Jordan Clarkson to carry us on his shoulders and make us win. So that kind of mindset, that kind of conviction and commitment, that's what we're going to be seeing from the Philippine team in the FIBA
Okay,
World
Nito,
Cup.
how about Kai Soto? He's coming in here with a back injury. How do you expect him to perform?
Well, in the tune-ups, I saw that he wasn't really running 100%. He was, sad to say, jogging a little bit. But, I think his head is in place. He knows what has to be done. I saw some sparks of brilliance from Kai Soto, especially against the Ivory Coast when he scored 10 points. I thought he played the pick and roll beautifully. I also thought that he passed very well for a big guy. This guy's a good passer, and he's a very underrated passer. Now, if he can just make sure that he protects the rim, he doesn't need to score. He just needs to be an intimidating factor inside. Karl Anthony Towns of the Dominican Republic is going to get his shots from the outside. He's not a post player. So I'm remembering that in the 1974 FIBA World Cup, and that was played in Puerto Rico, the Philippines upset Australia 101-100. That's Australia. They had a superstar named Eddie Palubinskas who scored 39 points against the Philippines. Philippines won that game. So I'm thinking, if we do exactly the same thing, let Karl Anthony Towns get his 39 points. But if we end up winning, that's the bottom line.
We're looking forward to upsets here with the home crowd. And thank you so much for joining us and for making us feel your passion and excitement. That's happening tomorrow.
Go Gilas!
FIBA World Cup starting tomorrow. Let's all support our Gilas Pilipinas team. Maraming salamat, sports analyst and TV commentator Kinito Henson. A fitting award, should we say, Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas Chairman Emeritus Manny V. Pangilinan was awarded the FIBA Order of Merit. The award is given to individuals that have made very significant individual contributions to furthering the sport of basketball. Pangilinan has been one of the main driving forces when it comes to sports development in the Philippines, specifically Philippine basketball. Over the years, MPP along with the SBP have been able to form a strong bond with FIBA, which ultimately resulted in the country's hosting of the FIBA World Cup. The SBP Chairman Emeritus concluded his speech by assuring FIBA that he will continue to support them even if he is about to end his stint on the FIBA Central Board.
I assure you that SBP and myself will remain energetic supporters and devout evangelists of FIBA. We are your teammates for life, and we will pursue our work together to win for all.
I'm sure he's as excited as Kinito.
I got really excited by
If not
Kinito.
more, they put in so much work into
Kaya
this,
nga,
right?
I'm sure he's there na sa
Yeah.
Philippine Arena.
Well, Well, I hope everything goes well tomorrow. Again, reminders that there are some weather disturbances also on the horizon, so do be prepared. But you cannot bring your umbrella, as Gretchen has reminded, into the venue.
Up next, we'll have a chat with Senator Bato Dela Rosa over his recent calls to boost the country's defense budget following that water cannon incident in Ayungin, among other issues. Stay with us. You're also watching the big story here on One News. Our next guest has been making quite a few headlines over the past few weeks over various issues, ranging from calls for a bigger defense budget down to some suggestions on how to lower the country's debt per capita. Let's welcome to the show Senator Bato Dela Rosa, and is joining us live via Zoom. Good evening, Senator.
Good evening, Gretchen, Shawn, and Regina, and to our viewers. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
Senator, you've been calling for a higher defense budget in light of the recent water cannon incident. Talk to us about how tensions are right now, and what do you think should be the Philippine response to this?
Well, the tension is quite getting lower, no, because of the recent incident that we were able to resupply our Marines in the Ayungin Shoal. So at least we were not bombarded with water during that resupply mission.
Yun nga po, Senator, kaya lang, taking a look at the scenario, medyo, dehado po tayo dito, given that, the size of the Chinese Coast Guard and the Chinese Navy. How exactly do you see us fortifying ourselves? At papaano ba tayo dito tatabla?
Well, kahit na hindi tayo makatabla, at least we have to show to them that we really assert our right over those areas, that the disputed areas. Kaya nga, during the budget, nakita ko, ang budget natin dedicated to the defense sector is only 4.9% of the entire national budget. So sabi ko, napakaliit naman ito, 4.9%. At siguro, dagdagan natin ito para naman lang makabili naman tayo ng medyo malaki-laking barko or whatever force protection that we can provide to our Coast Guard, to our Navy, to our Marines in that area, ibigay na natin para naman ganahan yung mga tropa natin doon na mag-duty sa area na yun.
Alright, Senator, sorry Reg ha, tatanong ko lang since we're talking about the defense budget which you have been pushing for, and in order to fund a higher defense budget, meron kayong mga novel suggestions. Ito, pakinggan natin, meron kaming clip.
Meron nagsasabi na mahirap na, mas maganda siguro kung mas manganak tayo ng maraming anak. Kasi para lumaki yung population natin at pag lumaki yung population, mas marami maghahati-hati sa utang, mas bababa yung per capita na utang natin sa yung simpleng pinubre ba? Pinubre na pag-isip.
Okay, Sen, please explain.
Senator, natatawa ka.
Natatawa, Senator.
Actually, I was really worried with the ballooning debt per capita natin. At saka yung ating debt to GDP ratio, according to our according to Secretary Jukno, is around 61%. So I am not an economist, no, to start with. I am not an economist. Kaya sabi ko sa kanila, beforehand, nag-explain si Secretary Jukno that our economy, the Philippine economy, is in good shape. We have a healthy and robust economy, considering na, sabi nga niya, among our ASEAN neighbors, ganun lang rin ang range ng mga utang natin. Debt to GDP ratio is around 60, 61, or around 60s. Sabi niya, Vietnam, Thailand, ganun rin daw ang kanilang debt to GDP ratio. And even he cited the case of Singapore, which is 101% yung kanilang debt to GDP ratio. So tayo 61% lang. So okay pa rin daw tayo per international standards. So kaya nga sabi ko, alam mo sir, yung ito lang, para sa ordinaryong Pilipino na nanonood sa atin ngayon, dito sa ating hearing, hindi kasi sila kalibel ang utak nyo. Kagaya ko rin sila na medyo mahina dyan sa ekonomiya, hindi kalibel ng utak ninyo. Safe ba? Pwede ba? Okay ba? Nasabihin natin sa kanila na ito nga, meron nga sa kanila. I was quoting these people na narinig ko ha. Sabi nila, para nga bababa yung debt, yung ating per capita debt, mga naktin ng mas marami para pag malaki ang population, marami din maghati-hati sa utang, bababa yung debt per capita. Yung pinubreng pag-iisip, yung ordinaryong tao na pag-iisip. Ganun lang ang ginawa kong intro sa aking statement sa kanya na okay lang ba na sabihin natin sa mga Pilipino, don't panic, utang lang yan. Kayang-kaya yung bayaran nating gobyerno. Sabi naman niya, ni Secretary Duke na, okay pa tayo. No need to panic, okay pa tayo. So, ganon, lumabas ang istorya. Kaso lang, pinalabas doon sa ibang media outlet na that was my solution. Mga anak. I was quoting, hindi naman siguro ako ganon kabubo at ganon kagagon. Ganon ang magiging solusyon ko. I was just quoting people that I heard.
Senator,
nandito si Attorney Panelo, natatawa rin siya sa mga.
So, Senator, you are worried about the debt, in short.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was worried.
Okay.
I was worried. Kaya ako nagtanong sa ating economic managers na okay pa ba tayo? Hindi pa ba tayo dapat mag-panic?
Okay.
Speaking of that, no, Sen, speaking of our economic managers, no, lagi nilang sinasabi, di ba, about yung MUP pension na kailangan ngang i-reform. Syempre, meron ka ring mga suggestion doon at mukhang that's what's being adopted. Right? Ano yung latest update nyo dun sa MUP pension reform? May naririnig ba kayo from the boots on the ground? Kung anong comment nila at anong sentimento nila about that?
Wala. Noon pa, yung hindi pa nag-deliver ng SONA ang ating Pangulo, ay talagang marami na tayong narinig, marami tumatawag sa akin na, Sir, siguro sir, magkuhan na lang, marami nang nag-apply ng early retirement sa mga kapulisan at kasundaluhan dahil takot nga sila sa magiging impending effect nitong sinusulong na batas about MUP pension law. So, uh, ganun ang narinig natin. Pwedeng magkakaroon ng mass exodus from the service. Itong ating mga kapulisan, kasundaluhan at other uniform personnel. Dahil nga dyan sa kinatakutan nila. But nung nag-deliver ng SUNA ang ating Pangulo, medyo kumalma silang konti dahil very clear yung sinabi ng Pangulo na dapat hindi maapektuhan yung karamihan. Kagaya nga yung sinusulong namin noon pa, karamihan sa amin sa Senado, sinusulong namin na kung talagang, kasi natakot kami doon sa sinabi ni Senator ni Secretary Jokno na magkakaroon ng fiscal collapse kapag hindi daw ito maagapan. So, talagang gumalaw kami sa Senado. Merong tinatakil yung Defense Committee namin about that pension bill. At pinag-aralan namin, ang aming solusyon doon was mag-contribute yung new entrants lang. Hindi na pakialaman yung nasa serbisyo at yung mga retired. Dahil yun nga, pakiramdam kasi ng mga nasa serbisyo kapag magbabagong system, para bang why change the role at the middle of the game?
Okay.
So para ba silang feeling sila? Masasyak talaga sila. So, yun, mabuti ngayon, nagsabi ang ating Pangulo at yung, I think, na ang hinihintay namin ngayon, ano yung magiging finished product ng lower house.
Okay.
Those House of Representatives, dahil sila nagsimula doon, ipapasa sa amin at pag-aralan namin kung ano yung mga kanilang bersyon. At
Right.
mahabang talakayan pa talaga ito. Mahabang talakayan pa.
Okay. Senator, pasensya na. I have to jump to another topic because we're running out of time. No, the International Criminal Court, of course, has resumed its investigation into former President Duterte's war on drugs. I know you've said you're not worried about it, pero have you prepared your defense? Do you have a legal team yet?
Wala. Hindi pa ako nag-prepare, pero sinabihan ko na si Senator Tolentino. Magaling na international lawyer si Senator Tolentino. Natol, ikaw na bahala sa akin. Ikaw ng aking defense counsel. At sabi naman niya, walang problema. Pro bono. Tutulungan kita. So yun lang ang preparasyon ko na ginawa. Kasi alam ko naman talaga na hindi yan mag-gain ng traction yung kanilang gustong investigation dahil nakita naman natin yung stand na ating gobyerno na ayaw talaga silang papasukin dito. So, wala akong piniprepare. Pero
Meron na palang legal team. Sen, one man.
Senator Tolentino.
Si Senator Tolentino ang kanyang legal team.
Oo, kaya ni Senator Tolentino yan. Magaling yung abogado. Sigurado ako.
Senator,
Kaya.
nakakabakasyon
Yes.
pa kayo? Nakaka-travel ka pa?
Hindi na nga dahil nga baka mamaya nandun tayo sa ibang bansa biglang maglabas ng warrant of arrest yung ICC baka hindi na ako makauwi ng Pilipinas. Ayaw ko munang bumiyahe. Baka mamaya mapusasan tayo doon sa ibang bansa nobody tayo doon, wala tayo doon. Dito Pilipinas, siga tayo dahil lugar natin dito. Pero pag ibang bansa, wala ka doon, nobody ka. Pwede ka ikulong doon.
Senator FIBA bukas, manunood ba kayo ng opening?
Yes, manonood ako.
Nandun kayo live?
Nandoon ako live. I am supporting Gilas Pilipinas.
Makita-kita tayo, Senator.
Tayong lahat magsusuporta.
Si Gretchen,
very good.
makikita mo doon.
Ni Senator, dito yung kay Michael Cataroha, ano pong masasabi niyo doon yung pagtakas niya? Meron ba
Sa
kayong
garbage truck.
inside info doon? Kasi parang sabi, chinap-chap, yung pala, dumaan daw sa ilalim ng dump truck.
So yun nga, ang pinaka-latest na version of his great escape. Nung una, sabi niya, lumabas lang daw siya, parang ordinaryong visitor, nakalabas naman siya.
Wala bang inside job yun, Senator?
Naniniwala ba kayo, Senator, sa pabago-bago niyang kwento? Ganun ba talaga?
Yun nga. Since pabago-bago yung kanyang version, mukhang may tinatago ito. At baka tinatago niya yung collusion na nangyayari between him and yung mga gwardya. Baka mamaya meron silang collusion dyan sa gwardya, kaya nagbago-bago yung kanyang version. So yan ang pinagdududahan ko. Kaya sabi ko, General Katapang should make a deep investigation at heads must roll dito. Dahil that's a mortal sin. Kapag malayasan ka na isang priso sa loob ng maximum security compound na, that's
Parang ang dali po. Yung sa maximum
dali
security.
nga eh.
Oo.
Dali. Kaya hindi po pwede yun. Dapat that's unacceptable. Mortal sin nga, sabi ko.
Agree kami sa inyo.
ganun.
Alright, maraming salamat po sa oras nyo.
Kita po
tonight.
tayo bukas.
At magkita kayo ni
Kita tayo
Gretchen
bukas.
sa Philippine
Ayos.
Arena. Go Gilas! Maraming salamat, Senator.
Thank you. Go, Gilas!
Thank you, Senator Bato Dela Rosa. Another quick break for now, but right after that, it has been quite a while since he was in the spotlight and in front of the press. We'll have on the show former presidential spokesperson, attorney Sal Panelo. Don't go away.
Welcome back. You are still watching the big story here on One News. The International Criminal Court is pushing ahead with its investigation into the anti-drug campaign of former President Rodrigo Duterte. There's also the recent standoff with China. Our next guest is familiar with all of these issues. I'm talking about none other than attorney Salvador Panelo. Attorney Sal Panelo served as presidential chief legal counsel and was a spokesperson for President Duterte. Attorney, welcome to the set. Thanks for coming all the way here.
Long time no see.
Hindi ako makahindi.
Oo nga, sabi ko, where's
May-ari nito eh.
your colored suit? For a change, naka-black ka today.
Alam niya kasi napula yung couch. Ayaw ni attorney mag-clash.
First things first, attorney, what are you up to now?
Well, I'm busier with 3 television shows and then 1 column writing, plus yung usual speaking engagements.
What
Mas
about
busy
your
pa
law
ako
firm?
Ano na lang ako, selective.
Oh,
Pinipili ko na lang.
Speaking of TV shows, one of them is on SMNI, correct?
Yes.
Oh, pero parang na-deplatform po yata, no? Wala na sa
YouTube. Pero
Yeah.
nasa Facebook pa rin.
Wala na din po. It's been taken now. The page has been
Pati
taken.
Facebook?
Yes.
Hindi
Because
kayo sinabihan
Facebook, Google owns YouTube. And then I think Facebook was first or YouTube was first. I think YouTube was first to take down.
YouTube was
Because
first.
eventually it became Facebook.
Pero bago tayo magsimula sa ating discussion, gusto ko sabihin, best friend to si Attorney Panelo. Best friends kami.
Hindi, kasi Attorney
naalala
Panelo,
niyo ba
nag-uusap kami kanina.
Naalala niyo ako? Hindi, matagal ko
Sir,
na
kailangan namin ng
Hindi,
closure.
matagal ko na gustong tanungin sa inyo, bakit
Yeah.
ako nasama doon sa Matrix?
Ano ba
Yung
yun?
Matrix, di ba nilagay niyo kami ni Heidelin Diaz doon?
Hindi, ang hindi niyo yata naintindihan. Yung matrix na ginawa, ano lang yung pinapakita lang kung ano yung particular na connection nung persons to another person.
Oh, yun, ganun,
Wala
ganun na.
namang, there's nothing.
So, linawin lang natin, Attorney, wala si Gretchen sa narco.
Definitely.
But you made the headlines then,
Oo nga,
back then.
nagulantang,
But do you have
Ayaw
that
ko pa nun,
graphic? If we
na-headline
could just
ka.
pull it up.
Mas mabuti nga yun.
Hindi, pero she got lumped in with other...
Co-plotter ako eh ngayon.
Oh, supposedly.
Co-plotter
the
ka na
other
ngayon.
two plotters.
Hindi, ako pumasok ako sa pagbabalita dahil po dun eh.
Ayaw ko pa nun. You should be thankful.
Para against fake news tayo. Diba?
Ayan, ayun!
Oh, yun,
There,
oo.
we have the image. If we could just flash it on screen.
Kasama ko yata si,
Ayun.
dyan eh,
There's
si
Gretchen.
Jollibee, at saka si Ed Linggaw.
Thank you.
And then Heidelin.
Heidelin Diaz.
So, when was this published? 6 years ago? 5 years ago?
More. Tagal na niya.
Medyo matagal-tagal na, pero
20.
So now,
Parang
pero
on the
sa
third
totoo
year
lang,
yata yan.
is 2018
yata.
so now, with the benefit of hindsight, can you guys now say you were wrong about this?
No, hindi no. Kasi nga, mali ang interpretasyon nyo. Ang nagawa niya, sina-highlight niya lang kung sino ang mga connection. It doesn't mean na ikaw kasama doon. Para lang malaman kung, kagaya no, sino ba mga kaibigan mo ito? But it doesn't mean anything. Yun lang yun.
Alright, speaking of that era, no, nung lumabas tong Matrix, ito, of course, yung talagang laging nasa headlines back then, no, reminisce tayo ng konti, Attorney, yung drug war. Ngayon na umabot na tayo sa, nag-withdraw tayo nung time ni President Duterte. Are you happy with
From
how...
the Rome Statute.
Yeah, from the Rome Statute, nag-withdraw tayo. So, now, of course, the ICC, they have chosen to continue with the investigation. Anong plano?
Unlawfully. Unlawfully.
Unlawfully ba?
Unang-una, alam mo, ang mali kasi dyan yung Solgen.
Bakit po?
First, very clear na walang jurisdiction sila. Kasi as repeatedly explained by the former president, under the Constitution, kailangan bibigyan mo ng due process yung lahat ng akusado. And pursuant to that Constitution, Congress enacted civil code at nilagay doon para nga ma-apply mo yung due process. Kasi everyone is presumed innocent under the law. But before you can say na you are a violator of any law, kailangan alam mo na merong law. Di ba? Ngayon, sa gumawa ang Congress ng provisions, sinasabi na no law shall be effective or enforced unless it comes out in the official gazette. Kasi kung hindi lumabas yun, walang makakaalam. Yung presumption na nobody is excused from compliance with the law will not apply. Kasi walang batas na ipinablish.
Sino pong soldier na nagkamali?
Mamaya, pupunta tayo doon.
Wait, yung ba yung sinulat ninyo?
Marami na akong sinulat tungkol
Sa
doon.
Tribune,
Marami
attorney.
na akong sinulat. So anyway, sabi ng Presidente, wala silang jurisdiction sa akin. And we had a meeting ng mga abogado. Presidente, Solgen, DOJ, ako, Executive Secretary. Basta puro kami abogado. Sabi ni Presidente, wala yan. Wala silang jurisdiction. Pero sabi ng mga ibang abogado, pero meron tayo, we're a member of the Rome Statute. Sabi ni Presidente, kahit pa miyembro tayo, wala silang jurisdiction. Hindi ba ako umimik palagi. Kaya nang tumingin sa akin si Presidente, anong tingin mo? Ayun lang ba ang dahil miyembro tayo, di mag-withdraw. Let's withdraw. So ginawa ko kagad yung withdrawal. Medyo naging controversial pa ngayon Kasi walang stationery. Kasi immediately gumawa ako kagad that very moment. Tapos pinabasa ko yung presidente, yung reasons, the whys and the wherefores. Pumirma siya. Kaya nung nilabas ng umaga, sabi niya, ano ba ito? Ganito galing kay presidente o kay Panelo? Hindi tinatanong ko sa briefing. Kaya sino ba nakapirma? Presidente. O si presidente pala, di sa kanya yan. So madali sabi, di nag-withdraw tayo. And effective ito 1 year after. Ang ginawa ng special counsel o special prosecutor, kasi nag-announce na siya na iimbestigahan, di ba? Nung mag-withdraw tayo, humingi siya ng permiso to proceed with the investigation. Sinasabi niya na kahit ka nag-withdraw, since we started the investigation prior to the effectivity, you're still obligated under the statute. So, ang naging sagot ko sa kanya, mali ka dyan. Kasi you never started a formal investigation. What you did was a preliminary inquiry as to whether or not the principle of complementarity applies. Kasi makakapasok lang kayo dyan kung number one, yung bansang miyembro is incapable of prosecuting the crimes na merong jurisdiction ng ICC. Like genocide, mass murder. Or, kung meron mga kayong kakayahan, ayaw niyong gawin kasi kayo yung mismong gumagawa. So yun ang ini-inquire ng special prosecutor. Since you did not start the formal investigation, hindi kayo papasok doon sa sinasabi niyo. So ang ginawa niya, tinuloy pa rin. Ang problema, itong Solicitor General, humingi siya ng deferral request. Sabi niya, huwag muna kayong mag-imbestiga. We will show to you that we have a robust judicial system. Ginagawa namin ang lahat. I criticize him for that. Sabi ko, why are you making a deferral request? Sabihin natin walang jurisdiction, tapos papasok ka sa kanila. Kasi pag nakikiusap ka, ibig sabihin, may jurisdiction ka. So I said,
in short, the Solgen that you're talking about is Solgen Minardo Guevara.
Yes, marami siyang ginawa. Nung sabi ko, denied sigurado yan. Tutuwa pa yan sa'yo eh. So na-deny. File siya ng motion for reconsideration. O di binanatan ko na naman siya. Ano ka ba? Wala na tayong jurisdiction. Sinabi na ni Presidente Duterte, sabi rin ni Presidente Marcos, wala, bakit tayo pasok ng pasok? In effect, you're admitting may jurisdiction sila. So denied. Nagalit na si Presidente Marcos. Sabi niya, wala na. Wala nang communication sa kanila. Sabi nung Solgen, sir, hindi pa naman final eh. Nag-appeal. My God, nag-appeal ka na naman. Denied na naman yan. Na-deny. Eto na. Sabi ko ng Solgen, wala naman talagang jurisdiction, pero they can still investigate. Ha? Walang jurisdiction para maka-investigate? Pag may ebidensya, pwede pa rin mag-issue ng warrant.
The Philippines has appealed again,
Yeah.
which was rejected, denied.
Denied. At sinabi ni Presidente, di ba, sabi niya, dahil visit na rin ang Presidente, sabi niya, we will not cooperate in whatever shape or form. Ang banat naman ng DOJ Secretary, we're still open. Oh my God, ano ba yan?
Yung CHR daw, mag-ano daw sila, ko-cooperate daw sila, sabi nila. CHR, Commission on Human Rights.
Palagi naman silang pakontra eh. Siya mo na sila. But, talagang walang jurisdiction. Kahit anong gawin mo, wala talagang jurisdiction.
Well, anyway, the point is, ayun na, the appeal was denied. They are proceeding.
Kahit
What happens?
How will they proceed? You
Okay,
tell me.
let's say the court issues warrants of arrest.
Wala yun.
What will happen?
It's a useless issuance of a warrant. Sino magsaserve? Hindi sila makakapasok dito eh. Bago ka makapasok ng Pilipinas, you have to apply for a visa. Di ba? Denied ka agad yan. At pag nagpumilit sila rito, sabi nga ni Johnny Ponce Enrile, na yun din na sinabi ko nung ako'y abogado ni Presidente, arestuin yan. Kulong. O sige nga, paano?
Well, attorney, yung Russia, di ba, binan nila yung chief prosecutor ng ICC na si Karim Khan. Posible ba nagawin ng Pilipinas yon na iban na lang yung prosecutor from coming here?
Hindi nga ba sinabi na nga ni Presidente, basta wala. Wala kayong jurisdiction, wala kayong pakialam sa amin. pinapakialaman nyo kami.
Well, it is a new administration. Speaking of pakialam, si former President Duterte pumunta ng China, nakipag-meeting with President Xi
Inimbitahan
Jinping.
lang naman siya.
Oo. At nag-meeting na rin si President Marcos tsaka si
Nagkwentuhan na sila.
PRRD. Ano po mamang napag-usapan nun?
Ay, di ba, sinabi na nila kung anong pinag-usapan nila o anong nangyari doon. Ba't hindi naman
Were you
nila
there,
nilalabas?
attorney?
Wala ako doon.
Pero you still
What's
hang out with President Duterte.
In fact, we were together two nights ago. Alas 3 ng madaling araw na.
Anong ginagawa ninyo?
We started
Karaoke?
7:30 dinner. Alas
ba
3 kami
Chismisan
nagkikwentuhan.
lang.
Kwentuhan
I mean,
kami.
with what's happening now
But
in
I
West
asked him,
Philippine Sea.
ano nangyari na? Sabi ko, bakit nga pala nagpunta ka ng Malacanang, Mr. President? Sabi niya, may dumating sa akin na, na parang kung po pwedeng pumunta ko. Ako naman,
So, naimbitahan din.
Respeto sa presidente dahil nagpapaimbita. Di pumunta ako. O sabi ko, di napag-usapan niyo. Oo, tinanong niya ako kung anong nangyari. Di ko neto ko naman sa kanya.
How would you characterize the relationship between the two men?
Which one?
President Marcos and former President Duterte.
Mukhang okay naman. Otherwise, hindi pupunta yun. Napakasuplado ni Presidente Duterte. Kung ayaw niya ang tao, hindi mo pupunta yun. The fact na nagpunta siya ron, ibig sabihin okay lang.
Hindi ba there was a bit of tension when President Duterte went to China? He
Ay,
was
hindi naman.
received as a state guest which is not usual kasi usually former presidents kind of fade into the background, right? This time around, he was received by President Xi Jinping. So there was speculation na baka
Kasi sa state guest house po siya.
Actually kasi, yung unang invitation sa kanya para i-inaugurate yung i-inaugurate yung eskwelahan in honor of the mother. Yun ang una. Nung nakitang nandun na siya, inimbitahan siya. Siyempre, kung ikaw naman nandun, paano ka naman makakatanggi? Lalo, presidente pa ng bansa nag-iimbita.
So speaking, still, while we're on that topic, Attorney Sal, totoo ba na hindi interesado si former President Duterte na maging special envoy to China? Na, ngayon, syempre, alam na natin na si former Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy na.
Unang-una,
Pero nabanggit din kasi.
Unang-una, para sa akin, demotion yun. Presidente ng bansa, walang special envoy. Hindi naman kailangan Kahit nawa hindi siya envoy na tinatawag, pag ikaw pumunta sa isang lugar, dati kang presidente, dati kang hinahangaan ng marami, palagi ka na may impluensya.
Pero willing naman po ba si President Duterte or sa former President Duterte na tumulong at magbigay ng
Smoothen
advice?
In fact, tinutulong. Alam mo, yung pagpunta niya, malaking tulong yun sa Pilipinas. Kasi pinapakita ron na kahit na nag-aaway tayo, kami naman, kaibigan naman tayo.
Attorney, tinanong namin kay Senator Bato Dela Rosa kanina, paano nga ba natin palalakasin yung ating stance sa West Philippine Sea? And you spoke about joint patrols, joint development. Is the government heading in the right direction with that? And hindi po ba maaalanganin tayo kung sakasakali with the basis?
In fact, yan ang suggestion ko sa programa ko. Yan ang pinupukpok ko. Kasi unang-una, sabi ko, since they're unmoved, China is unmoved by whatever we do, or by whatever even the collective voice of allies and other countries, kinondemn na lahat. Wala rin nangyari. Hindi ba, noong August, kailan yun? 7 o 5? August 5, diba nag-incident?
the water cannoning incident.
Pagkatapos, bumanat na yung mga ibang countries. Kinondemn. Amerikano. Nag-threaten pa Amerikano. This will trigger the enforcement. Sabi ko nga sa programa ko, Diyos ko, sinabi mo na yan 3 years ago Inuulit mo na naman ngayon. Wala rin mangyari. O ano nangyari? O 2 days ago. Nangyari na naman. Ibig sabihin, talagang wala ka
Sabi nila, medyo daw nag-lessen naman ng ang aggressiveness ng
Hindi,
China.
hindi
Kahit
totoo yun.
paano, kasi hinayaan nila.
Hindi
For
totoo
humanitarian
yun. That's
purposes.
duplicity. Hindi totoo yung sinasabi nila. Because yung mga nandun, nagsalita Sabi niya, bilinak kami. Hinabol kami. Katakot-takot.
That's what we talked
Kaya nga,
about.
yung article kung lalabas bukas, medyo criticize ko ang China, pati si Ambassador Wang. Kasi sabi ko, nagsasalita ka ng ganyan, yung pala hindi totoo. Pangalawa, imagine you telling us that you permitted us. What business do you have to be saying that? That part of that sea, sa amin yan. Nasa 200 nautical miles yan. Nasa exclusive
Hindi po ba
economic
nakita
zone.
ng dating Pangulo yun?
There's so much.
Sinesenyas
sorry,
na tayo.
we have to
end it there.
Kasi there's another show
sige.
coming.
Okay,
We're gonna have you. We're gonna have you back
Parang
another
dapat
time.
podcast
Because
na
there's
lang,
gonna be
no?
another
Marami tayong
program.
pag-uusapan.
For
Pati yung
now,
Maguindanao.
we're gonna
Tatanong
have
ko
you
pa nga
back.
lang eh, yung,
For now, we're gonna have
point.
you back another time.
Part
Kasi there's
two.
much more to talk about. But for now, we thank you for your time, Attorney
salamat
Salvador
din.
Panelo.
At
Chief
maraming
Legal
salamat
Counsel
sa
of
paglalagay sa akin sa
Duterte
matrix.
Pag-usapan natin yung ano,
Napunta ako dito.
Pinasikat niyo raw si
Kasi,
Gretchen.
hindi lang ako, si Heidelin
At si
nag-gold
Heidi.
medal.
Okay.
Alright, wala na talaga tayong oras. That's it for the show tonight.
We are One News.
Maguindanao case next time.
Ah,
Yes,
sige,
promise
we're gonna
yan.
have you all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.